NIRSA. I am Pam Watts. I'm the Executive Director for NIRSA. I hope some of you are able to join us today. In a few minutes, I'm going to be joined by Stefani Plummer, the Director of Recreation at Cal Baptist, who, along with some other leaders in NIRSA, is leading an effort to create community among the Black professionals in NIRSA. So let me just add Stefani here real quick. And then we'll get our conversation started. Hi, Stefani.
Hi, sorry, a little shaky there.
That's okay. It's Instagram. It's casual. Well, thanks for joining me today. I'm really excited to talk about this. It looks like we have a few people joining us live, and then we'll make this recording available later for those that want to listen to it later tonight when they're relaxing or maybe over the weekend. But we are here to talk about a community of Black women in NIRSA that is forming, that Stefani and some of her good colleagues in NIRSA are putting together. So Stefani, why don't you tell us a little bit more about this?
Thanks, Pam. Yeah, it's been a pretty amazing outcome of just the civil unrest that we're been faced with. You know, when the first Black Caucus happened, we heard a lot of voices. I spent a lot of time listening to friends, colleagues, and stayed after and talked with Andrea Sneed, and we really realized that the female voice, the Black female voice, was very different and had different needs. And so we reached out and said, you know, what do you need? And we just created a brave space for women to get together and support, encourage, inspire, educate one another. We've seen some great conversations, some great relationships come out of it. I think Andrea Sneed's my new BFF. I mean, love her.
Yes.
And so it's just been this amazing silver lining that's come out of, you know, what's just a really chaotic time right now.
Mm-hmm. No, that's fantastic. And, you know, I think last spring, when we realized we needed to do more and we came up with this concept around caucuses, you know, this is a great example of all of our hopes and dreams, you know, for trying to set that up. And there is this push-pull between, we didn't want to be overly scripted. It really needed to come from particular communities, however they wanted to organize based on whatever the needs were. So I'm really pleased that, you know, the Black women have, you know, listened, like you said, and identified a need and have come together. So if someone wants to get involved, how do they find you?
Well, they can just send me an email, plummerstephanie@gmail. Katie Geeter is managing our newsletter and everything. We'll get people plugged in. We are doing some really fun, unique things, I think. We've done away with TED Talks and we've introduced Tina Talks.
I love it.
So we've been having speakers and creating breakout times, both socially. The upcoming one is going to be social. After that, we're going to have one that is mentors and mentees. So people that are interested can plug in and find some resources, some help, some just encouragement from maybe someone who's seasoned. And we've had some great speakers, men and women, right? Because this is about us growing. And we had Jim Wilkening speak. We've had Terry Bump speak. And we've got some great speakers lined up. So it's just been a great opportunity to learn and grow, but also connect. So those breakout rooms are really powerful. And honestly, the best conversations are after the hour's up. And the few people that stay on, you know, sometimes that's when some of the younger professionals will ask some really hard questions, and we have an opportunity to answer them, you know, from different and unique perspectives. Because one of the things that I've really learned and has touched my heart is realizing that, you know, the community that I have here at CBU is awesome, and not everyone has that community. And some people are working in some like toxic work environments. And they may be the only person of color that represents the entire, you know, population. And that's just a burden that no one should bear. And so we just have provided a space for people to come and say, how do I deal with? What do I do when? And, you know, I don't have the answers. We have a leadership group that creates the meeting time, but the answers and the responses really come from the network. It comes from different people's experiences. And I think that's the best I mean, that's NIRSA, right?
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
isn't someone who has all the answers. We
Right.
all share information from our different perspectives, our different institutions. And I think that's what's creating that well-being
Mm-hmm.
for the Black women. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
creating that space of, okay, I can get through this, I can do this
Yeah.
because I've got people alongside of me.
Yeah.
And the great thing about it is it's not about NIRSA membership,
Right.
right? We're a lot of us are NIRSA members, but
Mm-hmm.
it's about the profession.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to
Mm-hmm.
move the profession forward
Mm-hmm.
and support those of us that are in it, whether we're new or seasoned. And that's what BWN has
Mm-hmm.
done so far, and it's been great. And it's also a space where we're not looking to ask people to do one more Zoom meeting
Right.
or one more. This is, if you can come, great. If you can't, that's okay. We record it, we'll send it out. But sometimes there's just great nuggets in there, and sometimes it's just fun to see people's faces,
Yeah.
right? So join when you can. If you can't, check the recording. Just one more resource.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes there's a knowledge boost, like you said. Sometimes there's an emotional boost. Sometimes there's a sense of helping someone else, which I think can be really powerful. And it all can be, easy come, easy go. I'm so glad you mentioned that this isn't about NIRSA membership, right? This is about the community of Black women working in campus recreation. And, NIRSA is here to support the efforts in terms of, trying to help make people aware that you're doing this and get them connected. And I imagine as we have new members join, and if they identify as Black and female, we are sharing that email, right? I'll just tell you now, we're sharing your email with this group.
That's all
It's a
right.
fabulous group. I'm also excited for NIRSA. Another one of our goals with the caucuses was also for us to have a place to access the perspectives and the knowledge and the needs of particular groups within NIRSA. And we've gotten big in the last couple of decades, and I think we need to create spaces for different identity groups, different functional areas, all the different slices and dices of NIRSA. But as an organization, if we really want to be the best we can be, then we need to have a pathway to access those groups. And so, like recently, I have been drafting a request for proposal to have a climate study done on NIRSA, on diversity and inclusion in NIRSA, in our volunteer structures, in our policies, in how we recruit presentations, how we select things, and on down the list. And you guys are still, like you're up and running, and I was able to come to you and say, hey, Stephanie, I'm working on this thing, and can you give it a look and give me your feedback? And if you want to shop it to a wider audience in your community, feel free. And I got some really powerful feedback through that. So I think you're going to serve, and you are serving, an incredible role with supporting these individuals in the association, supporting these professionals and students, but also it'll make NIRSA itself stronger as an organization, because we'll be able to tap into that knowledge and that perspective. You were
Well, I
telling me
think that
earlier.
you made a really good point, though, Pam. One of the things that we've talked about in side conversations is this thought of, you need to. And I know as being our executive director, you represent NIRSA on so many levels. But the beauty about NIRSA, as big as we are, is we are still this grassroots organization that is a we. So when we request change, it's from within, it's from us. And I think that's one of the things that we've really tried to do with this group is we want to see change. Let's be the people that make that change happen.
Mhm.
And I say it's a God thing. It's very
Yeah.
timely.
Yeah.
Our first speaker was Terry Bump. She
Mhm.
was talking about negotiating pay with women,
Mhm.
and then just drop some great gems of
Mhm.
how to be women in leadership.
Mhm.
And just, I don't know, a week or two after that, I'm currently on furlough,
Mhm.
and indefinitely, which is, a unique and challenging situation. But Terry was someone who I texted and just said, hey, thanks for speaking for BWN, because I didn't even realize that I was going to be someone who needed those nuggets and that affirmation and that information. And she called me back, and we spent an hour on the phone, just great, talking and supporting. And that's what we want to be for each other in this. And when I say we, I mean the Black women, but also NIRSA.
Mhm.
I mean, it's just been a time of community. We talk about community here at CBU a lot, and that is what we're trying to create and and enhance, right, during this time, because that's the only way we're going to get through the chaos
Yeah.
that we call 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, that's all great points. I think the profession, George Brown was sharing this with me the other day, the profession was really starting to understand our role in social well-being, on campus with our students in our programs. And then, here comes COVID, and all those usual ways we create social connectedness and a sense of belonging got taken away. And the beauty of this profession, like you said, is that we come together, and we're still coming together, and we're trying to, think hard about how to still deliver on that social well-being, that sense of connectedness, just with a new set of tools or a different set of tools. And I think creating these environments, sometimes you don't know you need them until the moment that you do, and thank God they're there, right?
Yes.
And your example with Terry Bump is excellent example of that. So while I've been really pleased at the strength of the community in NIRSA, right? Like, to your point, like, I don't feel like that has wavered at all over this crazy 2020, right? And I'm also inspired that I think we're going to take all of that and continue to do that for our students and for our campus communities. Mark Maturga did a wonderful series on belonging. If you missed it, they're recorded and out here. I see Mark's watching us today.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot of that.
I called Mark too.
Did you? Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good. I wanted to loop back too, because I think this is important, the way you've set it up, that you mentioned you have a leadership group that kind of plays an organizing role in all of this. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, when Andrea and I talked about, what we could do as two people in NIRSA, we realized that we didn't want it to be the Andrea and Stefani show, right? We only bring two voices, and our intersectionalities, which is, the big word, are very different. We're still not covering it all. So we reached out, and we have about 10 women, every level of involvement in NIRSA, seasoned, young, HBCU, predominantly white institution. We have it all, and we meet on the off weeks. So tomorrow is a BWN meeting, so definitely send me your email if you want to get the Zoom information. But on the off weeks, the leadership group meets to talk about, who next, who should we bring, what did you hear from the talk that we need to add in, addressing whatever it is. But we've created a mission. We really are trying to work on the networking and all that, but not as just me, a group of women coming together and really bringing the voice of the women of NIRSA up front. And what I love, I think Mila and her name has escaped me right now.
Are starting. Nicole?
Yeah, Nicole. Sorry, Nicole. Are working on the women's caucus. Like, this is great because the transition is perfect. Now there's a bigger, larger women's voice who are touching upon things that are very different than we're touching upon. And what I love about these groups is there's no competition, right? It's about how do we support, what community we belong to. I saw there's an Asian caucus. Awesome. Not a group that I will attend, but for those individuals that meet that community, that's so great that we can provide that. And I think that's important. We have a Christian community that I'm a part of. Like, we want to get together and build community. These are all great things, and I think it's what's going to, like you said, carry us. It'll change us and grow us only for the better.
Yeah, I love that you guys weren't daunted by having a relatively large group, so that you could get, coverage on all, like you said, the different identities, the different levels of a career, the different perspectives. I think the other thing I heard in there is that there's no hierarchy in that group. All voices are equal, all ideas are equally, heard and acted on. There's not some traditional, the veteran voices are louder than the younger voices kind of thing. I love that there's this group, but you're also connecting in with maybe a larger women's group, and then of course the broader Black caucus. And like you said, it's not one or the other, either or. I think especially in the intersection of identities, there's times in life, maybe there's even times in the week, right, where you're leaning into one more than another, right? At times I am fully rooted in my mom identity, and other times I'm not. Sometimes I'm rooted in a professional identity that has nothing to do with being male or female, and sometimes it is all about being a woman, right? And so I think to have multiple opportunities to sort of ebb and flow with all of that, because we're all made up of all these different aspects of ourselves, and really honoring that, having space for that, acknowledging that. I really appreciate that. Well, anything else you want to leave our Instagram audience with?
No, I think we've plugged my email so that people can
Yeah.
get plugged in, which is so great.
Yeah.
I just want to say to you, Pam, thank you, because I think that there's just so much going on, and NIRSA is this amazing association. I've spent my 28 years of my career in NIRSA, and I've grown with it, and I wouldn't be where I am without it. Literally, I was told about my Cal Baptist job at a NIRSA conference. So, what you are doing to move us into a better space is so appreciated and so acknowledged. And then what I love is your authenticity and your willingness to reach out, your humility and your sense of purpose for making NIRSA the best is inspiring to me, and I know to others. And I just want to say thank you, because I know that you're doing a lot with NIRSA headquarters and with our board and our leadership, and woman to woman, mom to mom. I just appreciate what you're doing, because it's been encouraging to me, so I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I mean, I do absolutely. I mean, I never worked in campus rec, but I absolutely adore this profession. And, I had the good fortune to be a stay-at-home mom for a number of years. And, I only reluctantly came back to the workforce. If I had my first choice, I would still be a stay-at-home mom. But if I have to leave my children every day, and I've been leaving my children every day for the last 13 years, to do something, it better be meaningful and worth it. And so
Right.
feel just absolutely blessed to be a part of this profession, even though we're kind of behind the scenes, supporting that. At the end of the day, the work that you and others do, for campuses, for students, for tomorrow's leaders, higher ed is often, I think, criticized for being, slow and behind the times and all of that. But the truth is, when you get down to a local level, the power and influence of a college or a university or a community college in that local community is huge, right? What it does to lift up the community and create resources is absolutely amazing. So, if I got to leave my kids every day, I feel pretty good about this work, and I've learned a ton from these members. You all just inspire me to get up every day and try to do the best I can do. So we're going to get through all this together. This has been a crazy 2020. I'm trying not to get too focused on some artificial, like, next year will be different, because we don't know.
Right.
But every day will be new. We'll still be together. We'll still be doing cool stuff.
Right.
This community that you're putting together.
Well, thanks.
Well,
We are
you.
definitely a profession that is shifting, and I'm just pleased to be a part of it. And although furloughed and waiting to return back, we'll get through this. We really will.
Yeah. Well, and if for those of you who joined us today live, just a little plug, I'm going to be back on Instagram Live on Friday with NIRSA President David Davenport. And actually, we're going to be talking about reacquainting ourselves with our transferable skills, right? And remembering that even though the delivery was campus rec for a while, or a version of campus rec for a while, there are some incredible transferable skills in this community. And I believe one of the deepest and most important is that sense of inclusion that comes from sport for all, that comes from come one, come all, that comes from wanting to say yes, not no, that is just so baked into the DNA of this profession. And it is what makes us great, and what will see us through and see our campuses through these unprecedented times. So join us on Friday. The information's on the website. We'll be posting this recording, so if you have friends who missed it or didn't pick it up on Instagram, we'll get this up there. And there will be some more information about the caucuses going up on the website in a few weeks, including maybe, Stephanie, with your permission, your Gmail for those that want to join and learn more. And we'll get everyone connected and moving in the right direction. So thank you
All
very
right.
much for your time today.
Thanks, Pam.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.